Chapter 6, Demonstration. The most legitimate desire that a truth student can have is to be able to demonstrate. Until one is sufficiently advanced to discern that God is the only power, he is liable to think that he has a great deal to do. Since the body and all of one's affairs are effects of which mind is the cause, all adjustment, commonly called healing, must take place in consciousness. This is done by altering the image or idea which one is holding. Just as an artist holds to the image or ideal which he wishes to portray, so the truth student must cling to the complete and perfect ideal as he realizes it must thrill in divine mind, which is the only mind he has. When one can perceive that his mind is God, he can readily see that his mind can objectify or reveal only that which is good. Any manifestation which is not good was never the result or effect of his mind, therefore it must be an illusory nature. This realization will separate good from evil for all time. When Jesus said, "Take no thought for the body," he must have meant what the absolute scientist means today when he advocates that the student must give no thought or concern to the manifestation, for all healing must take place in consciousness. A perfect manifestation or demonstration will automatically follow as the result of a perfect idea held in mind, just as a painting automatically reveals the model held in the mind of the artist. The student who still believes in a mortal mind and a material world will be inclined to use methods and devices such as constant repetition of denial and affirmation called treatments. That individual is the best healer who asserts himself the least, and thus becomes a transparency for the divine mind, who is the only physician. The divine mind is the scientific healer. Miscellaneous Writings, page 59. The main point is to be considered in demonstration is that one is not to attempt to change conditions or to add anything to himself. The only purpose of demonstration is to reveal the power of mind, God. Hence it is quite obvious that healing does not consist in changing disease into health, poverty into wealth, or sorrow into joy. But it is positive proof that health, wealth, and joy are established facts and are automatically revealed when one ceases to believe in disease, poverty, and sorrow. To have attained the consciousness whereby one realizes that there is nothing to heal is far more credible than to devote one's time treating against negative conditions, which we are compelled in absolute truth to admit do not exist. As soon as one apprehends that this man, with whom you and I have constant contact, is actually the spiritual man, seen through a glass darkly, the sooner will that dark glass or false belief of materiality disappear, and you and I will then deal with a man that cannot be sick, sin, or die. The spiritual perception has appeared to a few, just as in the days of Jesus Christ, and those who are truly seeking truth instead of loaves and fishes will catch the same vision. Jesus exercised the power of mind which can be appropriated by each and every one of us as soon as we too discern the fact that God is individual mind. This one mind and his individuality comprise the elements of all forms and individualities, and prophesies the nature and stature of Christ the ideal man. The great secret of demonstration is in being able to harmonize your thought with your own divine mind, which is the substance, color, and form of energy and every idea which you hope to see expressed. You must understand that you do not bring anything about. You must realize that mind is all things in substance. It does not become things. Thus you see that creation is finished, and demonstration is the revelation of ideas to spiritual sense inside. If you believe that your mind is mortal, you will not be able to demonstrate the things you desire, for a mortal mind, being mythology or nothingness, can reveal nothingness, but its own nature which effect will be nothing. Hence your inability to demonstrate something. Man is by no means a material germ rising from the imperfect and endeavoring to reach spirit above his origin. Science and Health, page 246. Inconsistent reasoning in metaphysics is responsible for the apparent lack of demonstration. The only mental work necessary to keep yourself in absolute harmony and peace is to study the nature of your own mind, God. By so doing, you are acknowledging him in all thy ways, and since in God, good, you are naturally sustained, supported, and kept in peace, this perfect protection and demonstration becomes a natural and constant expression of your own nature, God. Paul said, "Ye are not saved by law, but by grace." Grace is the action of God. So if you are to be saved by God good, you must know that you partake of his nature. In fact, you are that nature. All of the so-called methods, formulas, and systems, laws ever conceived will never save you from false belief. Your only healing or redemption lies in the absolute truth that in God good, you are eternally saved by virtue of what you are, living spirit itself. Jesus Christ never told his followers to turn away to God and to heaven. He constantly called their attention to himself. I am the way, the truth, the life. His mission on earth was to prove to us that he had the spiritual man cooperating in thought with his mind, God, hence the necessity for not divorcing form or man from spirit, if we are to do the works that he did. Jesus spoke as one having authority, because he accepted the conviction of his own mind as the fact of existence. He did not depend upon the words of others or ask how they would handle certain conditions. He stated the absolute truth about God and man as they actually are in unity and oneness. His spiritual perception gave him the necessary transparency of consciousness through which God and man could be seen in manifestation. This is the only healing that can ever take place. One no longer needs mental prescriptions or formulas when he truly understands that man is God's image. A repetition of another's words and a constant reliance upon textbooks or lessons is to place yourself in bondage to the personality of another, rather than relying upon your own Christ consciousness. If we are to follow the teaching of Jesus Christ and heal as he healed, we are to discard the letter and imbibe the spirit of truth. You can never rid yourself of a disease or any inharmonious condition through constant denial of its existence. Holding the belief of evil in thought is to perpetuate its apparent existence. You rid yourself of the appearance when you understand its nothingness. The spiritual manifestation is not revealed through the denial of error, but through the positive conviction that God is all and there is none beside him. If the denial of evil were scientific, the so-called material world would have ceased its appearance long ago, for there have been sufficient denials and affirmations used to dematerialize several worlds if such worlds really existed. But since evil beliefs are responsible for the only false manifestations, it is quite evident that the majority of truth students and practitioners must still be deluded, for they are denying evil instead of its apparent existence. Affirmations and formulas for treatment stand in the same relationship to the truth student as materia medica stands to the body. To indulge in the former is just as hypocritical as the latter in the face of absolute truth. We should endeavor to uplift our thought until we are so completely at one with our divine mind that there is no necessity for the indulgence of either. Since mind and body are one, when we uplift the thoughts and harmonize it with God good, it stands to reason that the body must automatically express the perfection of mind. Call no man manifestation your father or cause on earth, for one is your Father, even God. This means that we are to realize that there are no false causes on this earth, that good God alone creates and governs the universe. We do not have to wrestle with error or false beliefs in order to annihilate them. They vanish before the light of truth, just as the phenomena on a moving picture screen vanishes when the screen is flooded with light from the projecting room. Try to realize that the spiritual illumination of your own mind, projected upon the dark screen, the ignorance or deluded sense of false belief, will cause every evil manifestation to disappear, just as laboriously as the darkness disappears when light dawns. Healing would have been unheard of and absolutely unnecessary if every individual would but contemplate the truth of being, and not be the least bit concerned about the loaves and the fishes. If you are ever to experience the healing of body or affairs, it is because you are healed now. Otherwise you could never experience it, for there is no future. You always live now. Our reasoning must be from principle, cause, for God is all. If you attempt to remove anything which has no cause, such as disease, your treatment will be invalid. Mind is a perfect reflector, just like a mirror. If your thought of man is one of absolute perfection, your mind must reflect this perfect image, and the result will be a report of a perfect healing. It is a mistake to look for apparent causes of inharmony, for it is an admission to oneself that there is a power other than God. You need look no further than your own thought to discover the intruder. It is not a question of what another may be doing or saying about you, or what influence certain conditions may be bringing to bear upon you and your affairs. It is a question of what you are accepting in consciousness. What is your mental attitude toward the situation? If you understand that you are the Son of the living God, heir to the kingdom of heaven, you will never be deceived by the illusion of the senses, and the acceptance of this fact is the truth that sets you free. There is only one denial and affirmation necessary, and there is a denial in the belief of evil and the affirmation that God, good, is the only existence or life. To deny that there is even so much as a belief in evil is to deny all the other lies that are inherent in the one basic lie. It is to be remembered that our statements are to be made about God, for He is all there is. Our conversation must be in heaven. If we are making a statement of truth about man, we must bear in mind that we are speaking of the individual mind. If we say that man is sick, poor, unemployed, we should realize that we are speaking lies about God, for the self of man is God. Taking this attitude in dealing with or treating any situation, we will be more capable of impersonalizing evil beliefs, thus establishing God rights where we've always beheld so-called mortals. A very common expression heard among practitioners and students is, "I must do my mental work." Then the procedure is one of combat and resistance rather than of glorious realization of the omnipresence of God's man. It is not surprising with such erroneous mental gymnastics and work that patients go on indefinitely without having perfection revealed to them. There is absolutely no cut-and-dried system by which one can heal, no matter who the conceiver of such a system might have been, for there is nothing to heal. In the same sense, that by awakening from sleep, your dream creations disappear without any effort on your part. Do the apparent false creations disappear without taking any action whatsoever when you awaken from the sleep of ignorant beliefs and know the truth about yourself? The truth is so simple that it has been hard to believe. Evil beliefs have no more external forms than the things you see in your sleep. Therefore, you do not have to work to get rid of them. They seem to disappear when you know that they are not there in mind. Never overlook the fact that you are dealing with your own conceptions and not what the appearances seem to report. The past and future play no part whatever in mind. Whether you believe a negative condition has persisted for years, or whether you are looking to some future manifestation, it is to be dealt with at this very instant, for now is the accepted time. You can never go back into the past to make an adjustment. You must deal with your present thoughts of the past. And since we can never live in the conditions we are approaching called the future, we are compelled to also live the future right now. Do not place any more reliance upon the advice of others than you do upon the judgment of your own mind, for what you actually do when you follow the advice of others is to act upon your own conception of his advice. We should rely upon the ideas which come to our consciousness more than we may have been accustomed to doing, for ideas are emanations from divine mind, and they are the only means of communication with God. You cannot really boost any absolute dependence upon God until you learn to respect and rely upon the power of your own mind. Hold fast that which is good was Paul's advice. It is the sum total of demonstration. Let your realization be universal rather than personal, and you will be as harmoniously taken care of as the lilies of the field and the fowls of the air. In other words, the individual mind or God of you will automatically express its own perfection and form, demonstrating its own loveliness by means of itself. Again we say, there is nothing but God.